But the other big bit of news that I wanted to get to real quick is the according to Jackson.gg, who again have a pretty good track record, don't really have any fuck ups to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And so they've been following this NIP story and keeping on top of this NIP transfer story. And so apparently, guys, well, we are one step closer. I'm not going to say that we're done because there's not been a deal signed.
I can't handle this edging session. My dick's chafing now, please. Either stop and let the blood flow away, or can I just come, please? Like, how I've been being edged since like last year. It was around the Stockholm Major. The rumor was like, I've heard dev1ce is buying a house in Copenhagen again. So then it started, maybe he joins Astralis because you know Astralis isn't that good. And then this year, we have the whole thing of like, well, he's going quiet for a bit because he needs to get his mental health together. Then we have this story, like, I heard this thing like, Valde and dev1ce join Astralis. That was looking bad for a while because Valde's gone, hasn't it? I've heard basically because they didn't want to pay for him. So then you get now, a few months ago, dev1ce in talks again with Astralis. Then it comes along, now there's another bidder though, it's a bidding war. Now it comes along, and here's the price finally. Please just sign the fucking contract. I can't handle this, mate. This suspense has gone too far, innit, mate? This is mental. Like, the build-up is so insane on this one, innit? Come on.
They're just getting clicks off of this at this point. You know what? I bet you it doesn't even come through like, and the reports have fallen through, negotiations fall through, and we still don't know. So we're going to be able to write another 10 articles on this. dev1ce, apparently a buyout has been agreed on, a price has been agreed on, and dev1ce is now only negotiating with Astralis over terms. So we can't say that it's done, but they've agreed on a buyout, which apparently is around 600,000 euros. So that would mean that we're pretty much, so if you guys remember,
almost
it was around 700. It was claimed initially that it was a $1 million buyout from NIP to Astralis to get dev1ce. But then when we saw the Astralis financials, because they're a public company, they took a look at that and said, it's probably closer to $700,000 because we see this sum here for 700,000. This is probably it. And so this would mean that NIP are actually going to take the hit in the end, because NIP apparently had a buyout request for $1 million. That definitely was never going to happen. So they're down to around 600,000 buyout, which means that they're gonna take around 400,000 in the teeth, aren't they? Because you had NIP, you had dev1ce's salary, you had all the costs involved with having dev1ce for this period of time as well. And so originally I thought, NIP are going to be trying to get as much as possible out of this deal, so that it's just not a thing. They don't need to think about dev1ce. dev1ce never happened. It's not in the books, and it's not in the game. It's whatever, dev1ce, that whole thing. Yeah, dev1ce, who is that?
I mean, I think he could agree with them, right? That whatever happens in Sweden should stay in Sweden. I think that's the one thing they can both agree upon, right? There you go, you got it. There you go, you got it. It's all good.
So now you got this situation where it's looking like Astralis are going to take a hit. Or no, NIP are going to take a hit, and Astralis are going to make out like bandits in this case because they'll have made a profit on this, or at least a small profit, whatever. But they're going to be able to get dev1ce back by the looks of things. So I mean,
I've got a couple of angles for you on this one. Mainly they're just jokes, but I'll get them off like their real analysis because that's just, let's be real. I've just revealed. I've almost pulled back. I've almost pulled back the curtain there. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Yeah, put that back up there. So here's the thing. There's two jokes I've got / analysis. I mean, two pieces of analysis. One would be this. Astralis isn't even good in legal edges. Now they're trying to play Dota, do fucking buybacks in the middle of a team fight. They're losing. Like, I don't know about that, Semmler. There's one joke for you.
Not bad.
You have to know Dota to know that one right there. And then secondly, here's the other one, which goes like this. What was the angle on this one? Oh, I've got it. The other day, because he might be coming back, people reposted a piece of classic content from last year, which, by the way, I won't say the company is the rival betting company, although, funny enough, they've apparently just dropped people like NIP and whatnot. There's a famous betting company that makes loads of content that everyone might know, and they had a classic series, didn't they, called Pro or Low? And this was the one where they have the pro, and they obscure the names of the players in the clip, and it's either a pro player or it's like a noob player who's not one. And the idea is, who can really tell? Because, by the way, they do a good job on it. Like, they'll find like a really insane clip of like a bunch of one taps. So like you might think that's a pro, but then what happens is, this is what's interesting. The other pros, because what made that content not as cool as it could have been, unfortunately, is all that content of like, can you remember, watch this clip. Who do you think it is? If you know how pros did it, they just did it by, do they remember that clip? Like, it's a Cold Zero clip. Or even worse, they'd be like, well, actually, the way like he positions on short means it's rain. Or they'd go like, well, because of his skin, so I guess it's actually maybe like Jame because of the AWP skin, which actually made it not a cool thing because you want them to know, do you know the clip? Not do you know the fucking AWP skin? So basically what they did on Pro or Low to make it funny, like I say, is they made it a bit harder, and obviously you have to know, well, dev1ce had his own methodology, if you ever watch it, where he gets it I'll spoil it, 100% right. He gets every pro and every law, because what he did very cleverly, actually, by the way, is a mega insight. I knew this already, into who dev1ce is. You know, I've always stressed that angle that we heard about in 2017, where dev1ce actually was looking at not only heat maps of where he played, so he could make like new routes that no one would be able to guess, but then he also would know where the opposing AWPer, like a Fallen, like a Simple, wanted to be, and he would use that to his advantage, because he's always, obviously, if he sets his shot up, he's one of the best AWPers ever. He's one of those guys, he can hit every shot, right? But he's not the guy who's going to snap like Simple halfway across the screen. He has to know where you are and then set it all up and get his angles and get his flashes. So here's the thing that people don't know. dev1ce is a mega cerebral player. One of the smart, along with GetRight, one of the smartest, like high-level pros I've ever met, because they are the guys who can watch a demo and break it down. They have a very strong understanding. So when he does this pro law, what makes it really cool, Semmler, is all dev1ce does is use all the information you see on screen except the kills to figure out if it's pro or law. So what'll happen is there'll be a clip where a guy does a bunch of insane headshots and dev1ce goes, it is a nice clip, but you can tell it's law because there wasn't enough flashbangs used by the terrorist team. And also, why did that guy just jump out of house in that way? A pro would never do that. And then also, if you notice, the way he like backed off showed that his jump, like a pro wouldn't really jump that way. And he gets every clip right. Well, my joke is this. What they should do is do that segment now, but don't tell dev1ce this. And then the joke is he has to view 5 different players and he plays pro or law. And he says, this one, it's a really sick lurker, actually. Fuck, like the way he plays this, there's no way that could actually be like an amateur, because the thing is, his understanding of awareness and push and pull, that's probably pro. This one, I mean, it's a nice attempt. Like I can see what he was going for in the clutch. That aim, it ain't a pro standard though. That's got to be low, right? Then he goes like, oh, this guy, look, he seems like he's a decent enough AWPer. He's hitting a few shots. The joke is at the end when they go like, right, dev1ce, here's what you scored. You actually scored only 2 correct ones. You said these ones are pros and you got these ones wrong. It was just your Astralis teammates. Now, there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. I turned something into nothing there. Or the other way around. You decide. Decent effort, but a build-up, you know. Sort of like a dev1ce going back to Astralis. It's like,
basically, I think I see the joke. The joke reflects reality. There's a greater truth in it. So Astralis are. Do you think it's just Farlig, poor Farlig? I mean,
no.
Do you reckon they get rid of him or no?
The config story from last week. It's implied config's out because of that fight.
Yeah, so they bring him in, and then Farlig goes to a rifle role.
That's the part that sucks. Everyone wanted the move to be just Farlig for dev1ce, and then we're cooking with gas, right? Then we've got a decent team. If they kick config, by the way, config, I told you, I think as an entry, he did a lot for that team. dev1ce is really good, but what's Farley going to do? Maybe the Farley guy goes out and the Mr. guy who's in now stays in instead of Farley. I don't know what way you do it, right? But the problem is, it wasn't like that sexy to have dev1ce and config and blame F. Like if we have to get rid of config, I think that will kill the deal. So I really hope they aren't kicking config because of this, and that he is just going to get the heal up and all that. Like I've heard behind the scenes, it isn't quite as simple as it seems in the public story. It's just not my story to tell, so I'm not going to tell it. But I certainly don't think config's someone you should necessarily just toss aside. I think he's not, put it so, he's not the same hothead he was a few years ago. I think he does understand and reflect on what's happened, and he was probably a bit hasty with how he addressed the fucking Jackson people, but that's for him to tell the story of if he wants to. I hope they can keep him in the team, because if you do keep a team that is Glaive, Blame F, dev1ce, config, look, I don't know about Zipnix, but those 4, that could be a really good team. That's a team that can challenge for a lot. So I hope there's some way to fix this, because if it is just like, good news, dev1ce is back, spoiler, config's out, no, that is going to suck, isn't it? It's going to be like something good here, but something bad, and you're going to feel again, like, is Astralis ever going to be a really world-class team? Because they've never quite made it there, have they? They've never really taken that state since.
Yeah, that is always going to be the forever issue. It really does feel like it's like a curse or something going on where they just can't ever seem to get things to align again. Ever since the roster started to fall through, bringing it back, we'll find out. I mean, you have to understand, guys. Semmler had he's coming in a bit of a cold. He's a bit beat up today. So I was like, all right, here's the thing. Just pass me the ball. I'm going through my fucking legs, dancing on motherfuckers. You're
one-on-one,
nailing it right now.
I'm
like
everything. I'm just pulled the headset out. Don't need it. Don't need to listen to you. I'll just keep talking. Everything I say is brilliant. You're just a fucking guy who used to talk with Anders and go, Anders, that is human reactions. And he's like, no, Semmler, inhuman reactions. No, whatever. Keep going. Anyway, I plugged it in.
Basically.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.